You wouldn't have cheated if I knew this. If I had understood what you were missing, what you were craving, maybe, just maybe, we wouldn't be standing here on opposite sides of a bridge that's now burning behind us. This is Heart Decoded, where we uncover the real psychology of love, trust, and betrayal. If you believe relationships deserve a fighting chance, hit subscribe now, because what you're about to hear might save yours. You see, cheating doesn't just explode into existence. It's not like one day everything is fine, and the next day it's destroyed. No, it's a slow leak, a quiet erosion, 1,000 tiny moments where connections slipped away unnoticed, until the gap between two people became wide enough for someone else to slip in. I've listened to hundreds of real stories, from both the betrayed and the betrayer, and there's a heartbreaking pattern. The person who was cheated on always says the same thing: I never thought it would happen to us. And the one who cheated says, I didn't plan it, it just happened. But the truth? It didn't just happen. The signs were there. They always are. It starts with little things you barely register. Conversations that used to flow now feel forced. You get quick answers instead of deep talks. They say, I'm fine, but you know in your gut they're not. Their laugh changes. It doesn't sparkle like it used to. And then there's the phone. It becomes a shield, always in their hand, always turned slightly away. They change how they look, maybe dress sharper, hit the gym. And at first you might think, good for them. But deep down, a part of you wonders, who are they trying to look good for? But here's the thing. Cheating isn't always about wanting someone better. Sometimes it's about wanting to feel better about themselves. People don't always cheat on you because they stopped loving you. They cheat for themselves to feel desired, alive, noticed again. In the early days of love, you give each other that feeling effortlessly. Every glance, every touch, every late-night conversation was like oxygen. Over time, life creeps in: work, bills, exhaustion. The magic doesn't disappear all at once. It just fades bit by bit. And in that fading light, they start to feel unseen. Maybe they don't say it, because saying, I need more love from you, feels selfish or needy. So instead, they bury it. They smile and carry on, until someone else makes them feel that spark. Esther Pearl, a leading voice on modern relationships, says most affairs are less about sex and more about reclaiming a lost version of yourself. The person they become with someone new, playful, alive, unburdened, feels intoxicating. And if that version of themselves hasn't existed with you for a long time, the temptation is powerful. Most affairs don't start with grand plans. They start small. A joke at work, a DM on Instagram, a harmless coffee, a conversation that crosses an invisible line into emotional intimacy. And before they even realize it, they've built a secret life. By the time it turns physical, the real betrayal has already happened. But here's the devastating part. So many of these stories could have been stopped with one honest conversation. One moment of raw truth where pride, fear, and ego were left at the door. Imagine if they could have said, I feel invisible lately. I miss the way we used to touch without needing a reason. I need you to remind me that I matter to you. We underestimate the power of naming our needs before they turn into wounds. But most couples wait until it's too late. And when it's discovered, the pain is like nothing else. Your chest feels like it's been ripped open. Sleep disappears. You replay moments in your head. The nights they came home late, the phone calls they took in another room, the times you asked if something was wrong and they said no. You question everything. Wasn't I enough? Was it my fault? Did they ever really love me? And here's the truth you need to hear. Yes, they chose to cheat. Yes, it was wrong. But no, it doesn't mean you weren't good enough. Cheating is the explosion, but the fuse was lit long before. If you're in a relationship right now and it's still intact, I beg you, talk. Don't wait for the silence to grow so thick you can't find your way back. Look your partner in the eye and ask, what do you need right now that you're not getting from me? And then listen, really listen, without defending yourself. If you've been cheated on, remember this. The betrayal says more about where they were than about your worth. You didn't fail as a human being. You didn't make them cheat. And if you've cheated, ask yourself the hardest question. What was I really looking for? And if I could go back, could I have asked for it instead of taking it? You wouldn't have cheated if I knew this, if I knew what you were missing but couldn't say out loud. But now I know, and I'll never ignore the quiet cries for love again.
If this message hit home, subscribe to Heart Decoded, because the next story we share might be the one that saves your love before it's too late.